Hi, I'm Debbie. This is Behind the Scenes. Welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to talk about career paths, what to do to figure out what would be an ideal career for you, tips and tricks that you could apply. But when I sat down to do this video, it just weighs heavy that unemployment rates are so high, the economy is a mess. We're certainly seeing a technological shift toward AI. There are speculations around whether or not there's going to be another bubble bursting, etc. And young graduates, they're having a hard time getting into the field that they went to college for. Many of them, 41%, some articles say, are in jobs that don't even require a degree. So, what do you do in an environment like this? I don't know. I don't think I have the answers for sure, but I do have some things that have worked for me that I think maybe could help work for you, perhaps. Although this isn't necessarily a guaranteed set of things that works, I do know that may work for you. I know that they've worked for me in the past, and they've also worked for people that I've mentored and worked with in the past. And I think that perhaps they could be useful to you if you don't have the information. So, what is, I guess, instead of calling this career paths and talking specifically about wanting to choose a career, what do you do if you are transitioning and trying to figure out a next career move is maybe a little bit more what this will be about. Or do you even need a career, right? The reason that we work to begin with is just to fund our lives, to make sure that we have a roof over our head, food to eat, all the basics. And then if we make more money, then, great, we get to have a little bit more of those things, maybe some nicer things along the way. You could reasonably have a good life without having to plan a career path based on a degree. I think the common denominator of what I've seen is no matter what, whether or not you have a degree or don't, if you know how to hone in on skills that are valuable to that company or in that space, that is the thing that makes you valuable and keeps you employed and keeps you as somebody recognized as an expert in whatever area it is. Just because you might be in a particular position at a company that you're not thrilled about doesn't mean that that's where you will always be. Or if you're somewhere that doesn't make sense according to the degree you got, or if you're wondering if you even need to get a degree, if you're in that state, I would suggest that you just take a step back and handle things maybe one step at a time. Number one is you need to make money, right? So it almost doesn't matter where you work. You just need to work. And in order to do that, there's several different ways that you could go seek out work. One usually quick way is through temporary agencies who need employees maybe on a 9-month basis, 12-month basis, whatever the case is. It's just something temporary. And this is something that I did when I was out of the workforce for 2 years and I needed to come back and I needed it to be quick. And I went to a temporary agency and I filled out an application with them, signed up, did whatever tests they did at the time, and they placed me the following Monday. And no, it's not permanent, but it's something. And it's a way to get in the door with a company. You get to then show people real live who you are. You can, to a degree, request a certain dollar amount for a salary. And of course, based on your experience, that'll vary. So that's one way that you could just get out there. Get out there and make money, okay? Because you need to do that to get the stress off of your mind of finding the right thing. So that's why it's key. Just because you're in one particular location or one particular job, like I said, you could be taking care, delivering pizzas, you could be working at Home Depot, you could be doing a variety of things. That's not where you will necessarily stay if you don't want to. But once you have that thing taken care of, What I'd encourage you to do, and what I encourage everyone who comes into my vicinity to do, is to take a strengths test. Figure out what you are naturally good at doing. And if you haven't heard of it, it's pretty common. There are a lot of people who reference it these days. There's this test, it's called the Clifton Strengths Finder 2.0, 2.0 test. The cheapest version that you can get, it's around $20. You can order it on Amazon. You could probably also get it at any bookstore if they're still around. And in the back of that book, there's a little card for an online test. You just open that up, go to the website, put in the code, and then take the test, which is timed, and it's going to spit out your top 5 strengths. And these are the things that you are naturally good at. And if you then take that information and absorb it and really think through, okay, I understand myself. I understand I am naturally going to be good at these things. Then what you would do from there is align what it is you're doing at work to match and leverage those strengths. What that ends up doing is making you look exceptional at what it is you're doing compared to maybe other people. And it will be easy for you. That's the concept behind that. I highly encourage you to go get a copy of that book. It'll be the best $20 you spent. Take the test. Do not get the book used because it won't have a valid test. Definitely buy it new. Yeah, and do that. Once you've done that, then you can start to really self-reflect and just notice how it is that you interact and how those strengths come to life in your day-to-day work. And as you're getting used to that, the second thing that you want to ask yourself, okay, what is it I actually like doing? So in theory, you're at a job, which you took because you needed a job. Are there aspects of that job that you actually like? Do that analysis on whether there's something there that you actually are drawn to and you really like. Maybe there's some element that requires you to be super organized. Maybe there's a project type element that, and you get satisfaction from getting things done, or maybe, who knows, it could be a variety of things. Maybe you like interacting with people. And so you get excited when you get to talk to people. Maybe that's something. Now, if you combine the things that you love to do with who you are as a person, then that should start to help you figure out what types of jobs and roles you would be good at. And then from there, say you do work with a temp agency, you could go to them and say, hey, I really appreciate this job. Here are some attributes, or here are some things that I'm looking for. Is there anything that you know of that I could get involved in, or a place that I could work on a temporary basis? And if you do that, there's a good chance that even if they don't have something right away, they'll think of you when something comes up. Anyway, you could do the same thing if you're at a company and the job that you're in is maybe okay, but it's not necessarily the thing you want to do forever. Maybe you could start asking around and find out if there's some other activity that you could get involved with that's more aligned to your skills. But overall, I know that it is difficult right now. I know that transitions are difficult. I know that it's not an easy environment these days to try to find the next thing to do. And I think anybody who is assuming that they are indispensable, it's probably a mistake to think that way. So whatever situation that you're finding yourself in, I just hope that you don't get discouraged. I hope that you are able to be creative about getting your foot in the door someplace if you're not working. And if you are working and you're not sure you want to be there, really I really encourage you to understand yourself, figure out what you're good at, figure out what you like, and then don't be afraid to put yourself out there to move toward that thing. This did not go how I thought it would go. And I don't know if I'm even going to post this. But I do hope that just hang in there. Hang in there. Don't give up. You just need the one right thing for you. And I'm rooting for you to get that. All right. Thanks. That's it for now. Talk to you later. Bye.